Hello, today we are going to be talking about polynomials. So what is a polynomial? Well, a polynomial is the sum of any number of monomials. So then what is a monomial? If x is a variable, then a monomial is x in an expression ax to the n, which is what we have right here, where a is a real number, x is the variable, and n is the degree. If we look at an example, we can see that 2x to the third is a monomial. We have 6d to the sixth, again, another monomial. So a polynomial are made up of many monomials with different degrees. That looks like 4x to the fifth plus 6x to the third plus x squared plus 6. And so again, each of the degrees have to be different, which is what we see right here, here, and here, because if they were the same, then you would just be able to add them together or subtract them to simplify the problem, and then you would just be left with the remaining coefficient, or a, that's out in front. Few common terms for polynomials are binomials. A binomial is typically written ax to the n plus bx to the n minus 1. An example of this would be maybe 6x plus 5. If we have 6x plus 5, then we can rewrite this expression in terms of this and simplify. If we did that, we would have 6x to the 1 plus 5x to the 1 minus 1. This simplifies to 6x plus 5 times x to the 0. Anything to the 0 is equal to 1. This would reduce to 6x plus 5. And that's how we get here. If you need a refresher on exponents, I will link a video in the description below explaining why x to the 0 equals 1. And again, this is a common binomial. Another common polynomial is known as a trinomial. So a trinomial is going to have 3 separate terms. In this case, they all have to have different degrees, and therefore we would start with the degree of 2, because we would have ax squared plus bx plus c. In this case, our degrees are lowering down as we move through the equation. If we were to give numbers to this, we could have 6x squared plus 3x plus 2. In this case, we can check our work because we have no matching degrees. We have a degree of 2, a degree of 1, and then a degree of 0, and therefore this can be considered a trinomial. I do want to note that a polynomial expression is typically obtained by employing a finite number of additions, subtractions, and multiplications involving x. If an algebraic expression contains divisions or roots involving variables of x, then it's not a polynomial in x. Rather, it's considered a non-polynomial. For example, if we had 1 over x plus 3x, this is considered a non-polynomial. And this is because this term in x contains division, and therefore it's not considered a polynomial, but rather a non-polynomial. Similarly, if you have an equation that has a square root, then it also is considered a non-polynomial because of this term being a square root. I also want to note that if you have a binomial or a trinomial, it is still considered a polynomial. However, because binomials and trinomials are present often in mathematics, they have been designated a special name. However, they are still considered polynomials. Let's look at a few examples. Okay, if we look at this example, 6x to the fifth plus 3x to the fifth plus 2x squared plus 3, we see that we do have similar degrees here and here, and therefore we would need to simplify before this can be considered a polynomial, because as we stated before, a polynomial are made up of many monomials with different degrees. So therefore we need to combine all like terms. If you need a refresher on how to add and subtract polynomials, I will link a video in the description below. In this case, this would simplify to 9x to the fifth plus 2x squared plus 3. Because we have three separate terms, it is considered a trinomial. If we look at this example, 4x to the 1/2 plus 1 over x, this would simplify down to 4 square roots of x plus 1 over x. Now we note that if there's any division, like what we see here, and or if there are square roots involved, dealing with x, which we have here, then we know that this is not a polynomial, but rather this is a non-polynomial. If we looked at 4x to the 6th, this is considered a monomial because there's only one term with a value of a equaling 4, a value of n equaling 6. If we added another term to this equation, then this would go from a monomial to a binomial in the fact that we have two terms within this equation. And that's what a polynomial is. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. If you learned something, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.